Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayaditaratascha Artheshu Abhigyaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Nigamakalpataror Galitam Phalam Shukamukadamrita Sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. We now enter the 39th chapter of the 10th Skandha of Bhagavatam. So we saw how Akrura, the great uncle of Krishna and Balaram, came to Vrindavan in great ecstatic devotion, and he was welcomed by Krishna himself along with Balaram and given the great hospitality of having his feet massaged, serving a great dinner, and taking him to nice resting place and all that. So he was extremely pleased. So now Shuka Brahmarishi continues, having been comfortably seated with all the great honor given by Balaram and Krishna, Akrura realized all his aspirations that he had on his way. So when Akrura was coming, as we may recall, he had all this aspiration for being in the presence of Bhagavan, seeing him alighting down from the chariot, falling at his lotus feet, and then getting the great benediction of being in his presence and beholding him. He got far more than even he had imagined, because he was not only welcomed, he was so honorably treated by Balaram and Krishna, treating him with such respect and giving him the highest hospitality. So Rama Krishna Urumanitaha, it says Rama is Balaram, Rama and Krishna, that is Balaram and Krishna, highly respected them. So here Shukra Brahma Rishi says, therefore one has to learn that nothing is unattainable for one who is surrendered to the Lord and in whom the Lord is pleased. But then the one who is actually surrendered to him doesn't seek anything anyway. He says, Kim alabhyam bhagavati prasanne sriniketane tathapi tatpara rajan nahi vanchanti kinchana. So that is the beautiful paradox. The one who is completely surrendered to the Lord, for him nothing is impossible because of the grace of the Lord, and yet such a surrendered being doesn't desire anything. So the one who desires things, he is not surrendered. And the one who is surrendered, he doesn't desire anything. And yet the one who is surrendered gets everything without even being asked for. So in this way, Akrura finishes his supper and then he is resting. And now Krishna gently asks him, "Oh dear uncle," he says, "you have come safely all the way. We are very happy to see you, because there is the tyrant Kamsa ruling there, and I hope he is not continuing to commit outrage against his own friends and relatives, as we hear, because he is just an uncle by name." So Kamsa is the maternal uncle of Krishna, being the cousin of Devaki, the mother. So Krishna says Kamsa is only a maternal uncle by name, but in reality he is only causing all kinds of destruction and evil activities. Therefore, it doesn't even make sense to ask about the well being of people there, given that Kamsa is ruling. And Krishna says, even my own parents, that is, he's referring now to Baladev, to Vasudeva and Devaki. He says, Vasudeva and Devaki have gone through great suffering. They had to lose their first 6 sons, and then they also had to be imprisoned for a long time. So, this is all because of this evil Kamsa. Now, at least we are fortunate that we are seeing you. You have come all the way. Please tell us the motive of your visit. Krishna says, Sanjatam Varnayatam Tata Tava Agamana Karanam. The purpose for which you have come, please reveal it to us. So, after giving all the hospitality, resting him, only then Krishna asks him the purpose of his visit. Now, Akrura replies and he says everything that has happened. He says how Narada came and revealed to Kamsa that Vasudeva and Devaki's son, eighth son, is Krishna, who is in Nanda's Vraja, And then immediately Kamsa got angry and wanted to kill Vasudeva, but Narada stopped him, and he instead suggested to him to get Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. And therefore Akrura tells Krishna that that is why I have come here, because Kamsa called me and asked me to come here to get you and Balaram to Mathura, because he wants to in this way bring you there and then kill you. And therefore this is so funny, in fact, for Krishna and Balaram to listen to, being impossible. Therefore they just simply smile listening to what Akrura says, and then they tell it to their father Nanda what has happened. It says, Shrutva Akrura Vachaha Krishno Balascha Paraviraha Prahasya Nandam Pitaram Ragnya Adishtam Vijagnyatuhu. So when they listened to what Akrura said, Krishna and Bala, that is Krishna and Balaram, they simply had to laugh, smile and laugh because of the petty plans of Kamsa. And they in that way also assured Akrura that there is nothing to worry, that he has come as an emissary of Kamsa because he is a pure soul and Kamsa's plans will come to naught. And therefore he tells Krishna tells Nanda the father that this is what Akrura has brought as message. Immediately Nanda instructs all the cowherd men that let's all go, because Akrura also tells them that Kamsa is organizing a huge festival in Mathura, a bow sacrifice and then a wrestling arena and all the rest. So Nanda says, let's go, let's all go. We are also anyway meant to take some gifts to the king with all our milk products. So Nanda says, let all of us go tomorrow itself along with Krishna and Balaram, with Akrura going back with them, and we will take presents of various kinds. So let all the bullock carts be ready and loaded with clarified butter and curds and so on. So in this way, he tells everyone, he says, we'll go to Mathura, and it looks like everyone is coming there. All the people of the entire kingdom are coming because of this great festival that is being arranged. So it's only appropriate that we go and bring delicious substances for people to eat there and also witness this festival, and also send Krishna and Balaram personally there, going there with them. So let this message be given to the whole Vrija. So Nanda tells his watchman to go and give this message out. And of course, when this message goes out, the people who are most distressed are, of course, the cowherd women. The cowherd women, the Gopis, they listen to it and they are completely crestfallen, in great agony to listen to this sudden shocking message that Krishna and Balaram are going to go tomorrow itself and Akrura has come to take them. It says, Ramakrishna Purim Netum Akruram Vrajamagatam. Akrura has come to this place to take Rama and Krishna, that is Balaram and Krishna, back to Mathura, is what they hear, and they are completely distressed, shocked. So these gopis, these beautiful, innocent cowherd women who have given their entire life to Krishna and who have been so happy to see Krishna every evening, singing songs for him when he is gone during the day, and then awaiting every evening for Krishna to come back and engage in beautiful Rasa Leela dance. Now suddenly they are given this great shock that Krishna is going to leave, and that too with no notice but tomorrow morning. And it's already evening there, and so they have only one night to prepare for it, and everyone is completely shocked. So one gopi is having hot breaths, another is having her bangles crashing and falling off, one more gopi becomes completely still, like she has entered a samadhi of a yogi. She has no consciousness, she becomes completely still. Another faints. So everyone is having a different reaction listening to this, from their perspective, the most horrible message that Krishna is leaving Vrindavan to go back to Mathura. And they are all recalling the various talks of Krishna, the various gestures, the various movements. It says, Gatim Sulalitam Cheshnam Snigdhasa Avalokanam. So his movement, his playful gestures, his mischiefs, his smile, his beautiful face, All of this is jokes. Everything was recalled by all these gopis, and they were talking the whole night because they now cannot go to sleep. They know that there is only this one night, and they are praying for this night to never end because they know that with the sun coming, their beloved Krishna is going to leave them. So they are all assembled in the night and they are only praying for the night to last forever, and they talk among themselves and they first address the destiny, the one who destines everything. They say, "O Creator," they we can see that it refers to Brahma. So they say, "Aho vidhata tava na kvachit daya." They say, "O Creator, you have no compassion whatsoever. You just arranged for us to come together. We just were able to get the highest grace of Krishna by being in his close embrace, and now you are splitting us apart in such a cruel way. You had revealed to us the beautiful face of Krishna, Mukunda Vaktram," they say. Mukunda, the Supreme Lord who bestows liberation. His beautiful countenance, his lovely cheeks, his curly locks, his beautiful features were all given as the highest blessing for our eyes. And now you are taking it away. And what's worse, you are doing this cruel act in the form of Akrura. Akrura literally means one who is not cruel. So the word cruel in English, in fact, comes from the Sanskrit word krura, which means the same thing, cruel. And Akrura means one who is not cruel. That is the name of the uncle, the one who is never cruel. But then these gopis say his name is someone who is never cruel, but in reality he is doing the most cruel thing by snatching our beloved Krishna away from us. And so this providence is doing this act in the form of Akrura, and you are taking away from our eyes the sight of Madhusudana, who in every way, every limb, every sight, every glance of his was a feast for our eyes. Now you are taking him away. They say also, all the gopis are lamenting that the darling of Nanda, Krishna, he is going to Mathura and he may not even gaze upon us because he is going to be in the big city of Mathura. So these cowherd women, they are the innocent village women who have never seen the city and who are very happy living a very beautiful rural life, and they are not educated. They have very simple life, very simple heart, and they are fully surrendered, and therefore they now cry and they feel that how can Krishna go away, also because Krishna is going to this big city of Mathura, the capital, and there will be all these well educated women. So they are in a very beautiful innocent way crying out all kinds of ways in which they are going to be in agony. So they say there will be all these ladies who are all well educated, who are dressed very gracefully, and who are very expert in the ways in which they can talk to people and so on. So they will have all these wonderful charms, and so they are wondering whether Krishna will even remember us when he perceives all those ladies with all these charms which we innocent village girls do not even know about. We are helpless rustic women, and we have left everything. They say we have left our husbands, our sons, our relations, everything for the sake of Krishna, and yet he is now going to be in the presence of all these high society women who are all having very polished utterances, sweet honey like words, and great decorations and cultured smiles and all the rest. And therefore, a grand feast is waiting for all these ladies too. So, we are going to be missing all this. So, the ladies of Mathura are also in for a grand feast, they say, because what they are going to perceive is something they have never seen before. They say, Adya Dhruvam Tatra Drisho Bhavishyate. Mahotsavaha Sri Ramanam Gunaspadam Drakshyanti Ye Chadvani Devaki Sutam. They say they are going to have a grand feast, Mahotsava, of the Supreme Lord, who is the abode of all excellences, all prosperity, who is the ultimate enjoyer, Sri Ramana, and who is the son of Devaki. They are going to behold him. So they are in for a grand feast. And Krishna himself, they wonder in their innocent way, will be captivated by all these ladies of the city, so he may forget us. So they are mourning their situation now. And they say this Akrura, his name should not be Akrura. They again get so angry at him in their own beautiful, sweet, innocent way. They say, Asya akurunasya nama bhut akrura iti etad ativa darunaha. They say this akarunasya, the one who is without any compassion, he is having the name called Akrura, the not cruel one. This is not right at all, because he is going to take Krishna away, who's dearer than life, and he is not even caring to comfort us. So they are very upset with Akrura because he has come in the evening. It's dark now, and the next morning he's going to take them away, take Krishna and Balaram away. So there is no time, and he is not even bothering to come and comfort the gopis, the ones who are going to dearly miss him. And therefore, they say Krishna will be comfortably seated in his chariot tomorrow morning, and the silly Gopas, that is because Nanda has arranged that all the cowherd men will go with Krishna and Balaram with all kinds of gifts. So they complain about them to the Gopis, say these cowherd men, they don't know what they are doing. They are going to follow Krishna in their bullock carts because they have become indifferent themselves. They are not realizing that they are taking Krishna and Balaram away, and when they come back, they'll come back empty handed. Therefore, they realize that there is no other way for us. We have to approach Krishna directly. So far, they have been very discreet in terms of revealing this love in front of others, but now they say there is nothing for us to worry anymore, because we have to only cry out our anguish of separation directly to Krishna. There is no other way. How many nights we have spent in Rasa Leela with Krishna, how much wonderful Leela that we have had, what grace has been bestowed upon us, and now it's all taken away. How can we even survive without him? We see him at the end of the day. Every day he goes to take the cows for pasture. He comes back in the evening with Balaram, surrounded by cowherd boys. He's playing the flute. He's got flower on as garland around his neck, and he's coming so beautifully with all the cows. We see this sight every evening. We drink this feast, and then after he gets dressed and freshens up and has his supper, we have the secret union in the night in the forest. All this has happened, and now we are going to miss everything. Therefore, they cry out in the most beautiful way. They say, there is nothing else for us to do except to cry out our heart without any shame. So they say, Evam Bruvana Virahatura Brisham Vrijastriyaha Krishna Vishakta Manasa Visrujya Lajjam Ruruduhu Sma Suswaram Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So they say, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. So this particular expression is so famous that there are so many songs having this refrain, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, because that's what the gopis say. They say, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava, and they do this without any shame. Visrujya Lajjam, without any shame, without any bashfulness of any kind. They are completely crying out their heart, saying, O Krishna, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava, please don't go. But then, whatever they are crying in the night happens, but eventually, of course, the sun comes up. And then, once the sun comes up, Akrura does his prayers in the morning prayers, Sandhya prayers. And then he starts his chariot towards Mathura, with Krishna and Balaram seated in it and following him as already planned. Nanda, when all the cowherd men are in their bullock carts with abundant presents of milk and curds and ghee and so on. So now the cowherd women, all these gopis, they are following them, and they are following helplessly the procession of the chariots and the bullock carts. And Krishna turns back and looks at them with a loving glance, and he smiles at them, but he doesn't utter a word. And then he simply sends a message through a messenger that I shall come back, while the gopis are simply looking at the procession go, and they are looking at the road as the procession goes forth. The flag of Krishna's chariot is seen, the dust is seen, and eventually, after a long distance, when the chariot is not seen anymore, they turn back when they cannot even perceive the dust that is rising from the chariot and the flag of Krishna's chariot at a distance. When it has vanished and when they have gone, they turn back. So here we see again on the face of it Krishna leaving the gopis in this great agony of separation, which seems so unfair. These gopis who are so beloved, who are so totally surrendered, who are in the highest state of surrender, they are now cast in separation again. But later we will see how Krishna says that their love is so supreme that the only thing that is so pure is that love that can only enhance every day in this feeling of separation. So Krishna says that even association with them is not enough. So Krishna is so bound by their love. We always see Krishna is called Bhakta Vatsala. He is bound by the love of his devotees, and the love of the gopis is the most supreme. And therefore, because their love is at the highest level, Krishna, unable to even repay that love, even through his physical presence, therefore gives them this separation, because of which not a single moment goes by when the gopis forget him, and they are in this intense separation and constantly every single moment thinking of Krishna. Thereby their ecstasy through separation increases every moment. So this is the grace bestowed by Krishna, even though outwardly he leaving seems to be unfair to the gopis. So in any case, Krishna leaves in this way, and then the scene shifts to the chariot where Krishna and Balaram are going, and they go fast, and then by noon they reach the banks of Yamuna, where they take a break. And when they do so, they first come down from the chariot, wash themselves, drink the water of Yamuna, and then they go near a cluster of trees where the chariot is parked, and then they get back on the chariot, both Krishna and Balaram. And after that, Akrura takes leave of them, and he goes to the water in Yamuna to take a dip, because it's noon time and also it's a time for his prayers. So he goes and takes a dip. But to his great surprise, when he goes and takes a dip, so he takes a dip muttering the Gayatri mantra as it is done at the noon hour. It says, Nimajya tasmin salile japan brahma sanatanam. He does a dip in the Yamuna river and he utters the Gayatri mantra, and then he instantly perceives Balaram and Krishna inside the water. It says, Taveva Dadrisha Akruro Ramakrishno Samanvitau. Rama and Krishna, Balaram and Krishna he perceives. So he is shocked. He says, how come I am seeing them inside the water when they are in the chariot? So not believing his own eyes, he comes out of the water for a moment and looks at the chariot, and he sees there Krishna and Balaram seated comfortably as if not aware of anything. Then he again takes a dip in the water, and now, to his even greater surprise, he sees the most wonderful darshan. He sees Balaram in the original form of a thousand-headed serpent, because Balaram is Adisesha, the thousand-headed serpent. So he sees this grand serpent. It says, Sahasra Shirasam Devam, Sahasra Phanamaulinam, Nilambaram, Bisashvetam, Shringai Shvetamiva Sthitam. So he sees this thousand-headed serpent with thousand jewels on each of its heads and shining inside the water, and on the lap of this thousand-headed serpent lies the Supreme Lord as Ghanashyama. It says, Tasya utsange Ghanashyamam Pitakosheya Vasasam Purusham Chaturbhujam Shantam Padmapatra Arunekshanam. So, on the lap of this thousand-headed snake, who is Balaram, is Krishna as the Supreme Lord Narayana, with the most beautiful transcendental features, looking like a dark cloud in color, wearing yellow silk, having four arms, having a lotus in his hand, and having eyes like lotus, with a beautiful smile, with a beautiful face, with the beautiful ears. It says Charu Prasannavatanam, Charu Hasa Nirikshanam, Subrunasam Charu Karnam, Sukapola Arunadharam. His lips are like reddish lotus. He's got the most beautiful smile. So he's getting the vision of Narayana. First he saw Balaram and Krishna inside the water, and then he confirmed that they are in fact there in the chariot. Then he again dips into the water, and now instead of seeing Krishna and Balaram, that is replaced by the vision of Adisesha and Mahavishnu. So he is completely stilled into great ecstasy by this vision. He sees the Supreme Lord in the most transcendent form, and he sees all the features that are described of Narayana. He's got Shankha, Chakra, that is the conch shell, the discus, the mace, the lotus in his hands, and he's got Lakshmi in his chest. He's got a garland of forest flowers. It says Brajamanam Padmakaram Shankha Chakra Gadadharam Srivatsa Vakshasam Braja Kaustubham Vanamalinam. So he sees Narayana in the most transcendent original form right there in the waters of Yamuna inside, seated on the lap of the thousand-headed serpent Adisesha, and thereby Krishna and Balaram, who are there in the chariot, are giving him a darshan, a vision of the original form in the most glorious way, and he is completely in ecstasy now, unbelievable at the mercy, at the grace he is receiving by getting this darshan, getting this vision. He sees in that vision all the great rishis. Narada is there worshipping Krishna, and the four boy sages Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara are there. Brahma is there, Prahalad is there, and all the great beings are all offering worship to this transcendent supreme form of Narayana, and he is adored by the various opulences, that is the opulence of fortune Sri, nutrition Pushti, learning Saraswati, splendor who is Kanti, glory who is Kirti, contentment who is Tushti, earth which is Ila, Urja, the power of omnipotence, and on top of that, even the forms of Vidya and Avidya, that is wisdom and ignorance, have also taken a human form, and they are also worshipping Narayana. And Shakti, which is the what is called as the Hladini Shakti, which is in fact the personification of Radha, the highest power of love, that is also there. So every aspect of the various opulences of Bhagavan are in human form as women offering worship to the Supreme Lord, who is seated on the lap of the thousand-headed serpent in his most opulent, transcendent, original form. And Akrura sees this, and he is extremely rejoiced. He is full of devotion. His eyes are in tears. His voice is choked in devotion. He is trembling, and his mind is full of love. And in this way, Akrura now offers a most beautiful prayer to the Supreme Lord, giving him darshan. That prayer will be seen in the next chapter. So, for now, we saw the most poignant separation of the gopis from Krishna, Krishna leaving Vrindavan, which is After all the most glorious episodes, pastimes we have seen in Vrindavan, starting from a little baby killing Putana all the way to Rasa Leela, the most glorious pastimes, all coming to an end in terms of the Vrindavan chapter as he moves to Mathura. Of course, the Vrindavan pastimes are eternal in the sense that it is always happening in the vision of devotees. It goes on forever, but in the manifest way, in the avatar of Krishna, that particular sequence of pastimes are finished, and now he moves on to Mathura, and there on the way, Akrura gets this most beautiful darshan. And with this chapter ends. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.